Here's a quick preview of what's to come.
Why aren't you at the Fox News debate tonight in Milwaukee?
Well, you know, a lot of people have been asking me that.
When you say there are people on stage who shouldn't be running for president, who do you mean? Whatever happened to Mike Pence? He's out there attacking you. What is that? Do you think Epstein killed himself sincerely? Do you think we're moving towards civil war?
It's good to have you at Bedminster. It's very nice.
I love it. You're saying they stole it from you last time. Why wouldn't they do the same this time?
Oh, well, they'll try. They're going to be trying. Mitch McConnell is trying to get senators to impeach me. Crooked Joe Biden is so bad. He's the worst president in the history of our country. I don't think he's going to make it to the gate, but, you know, you never know.
It started with protests against you, then it moved to impeachment twice.
Right.
And now indictment. Are you worried that they're going to try and kill you? Why wouldn't they try and kill you, honestly?
They're savage animals. They are people that are sick.
So do you think it's possible that there's open conflict?
I can say this. There's a level of passion that I've never seen. There's a level of hatred that I've never seen, and that's probably a bad combination.
Guys, the day's upon us. This is going to go down in history. If you're watching this, you already know what's happening today. Yesterday, Donald Trump went on an interview with Tucker Carlson, and it rapidly started getting millions and millions of views. I remember people marveling, tweeting at the fact that it had gotten 20 million views, 50 million views. Oh my gosh, it's gotten more views than the presidential candidates debate, which happened yesterday as well. Oh my gosh, Trump on Twitter got more views than the presidential candidates debate when 20 million people were watching. Then 50 million views. Then last night, 100 million views. People were like, what's going on? It's at 100 million views. Then, like 5 hours ago, 154 million views. Guys, this interview is the biggest interview of all time in the history of the planet. And it happened yesterday. And it's happening right before Trump's about to be arrested for the fourth time in this banana republic, which the radical left is, you know, attempting to destroy. Guys, the interview now has 237 million views, and it's gaining. And it's gaining. Tucker Carlson is swamping Fox News. Fox News, I think it's clear that by firing Tucker Carlson, they admitted that they weren't about news that people wanted to watch. They were about a curated message controlled by overlords, because it doesn't make sense to fire your most profitable employee that is, in this case, the most beloved by the audience that you profit off of. Let's be honest here, right? So it's clear that Tucker Carlson was fired for ideological reasons. Probably some billionaire got upset and pulled some strings at Fox News, but Tucker Carlson is winning. And guys, this is madness. I don't even know how to describe how crazy this is. Our country has 330 million people in it, and this video has 237 million views. Okay, and it's still growing. This is it's not even 24 hours. This is how much the internet's breaking right now. That means that your mom's dog has probably seen this video. It means that your auntie that's 97 years old and can barely see has probably listened to this. At this point, this interview, and by the way, I haven't listened to this interview, so I'm one of the few people in America who has not seen this interview yet, because I wanted to react to it for the first time, cover it for the first time on camera, considering the severity of what's going on in our world today. Now, that brings me to the second part of what I was going to say, and I'll try to keep it brief, which is our republic is collapsing, and America will never be the same. Today is essentially like a day in history that'll be looked at like Julius Caesar being killed, or not saying Trump's going to be killed, but it's going to be a day in infamy. I think today is going to be a day in infamy. It's the day that the radical left demonstrated they are willing to imprison their political opponents. The left is willing to persecute the people that disagree with them, and legally persecute by co-opting the justice system for their own insane radical positions. And they're doing this because they're driven by resentment and hate. We have to be aware of the fact that as we speak right now, I'm recording this, Trump is driving to Georgia to be arrested. And the Democrats want to humiliate Trump. They want to humiliate anyone that supports him. But the thing is because they're so unpopular, because they're tyrants, because they're driven by resentment, Trump is more popular than ever. His polls are shooting up. They're martyring him in real time. Here's a quick preview of what's to come.
Why are you at the Fox News debate tonight in Milwaukee?
Well, you know, a lot of people have been asking me that.
When you say there are people on stage who shouldn't be running for president, who do you mean? Whatever happened to Mike Pence? He's out there attacking you. What is that? Do you think Epstein killed himself sincerely? Do you think we're moving towards civil war?
It's good to have you at Bedminster. It's very nice.
I love it. You're saying they stole it from you last time. Why wouldn't they do the same this time?
Oh, well, they'll try. They're going to be trying. Mitch McConnell is trying to get senators to impeach me. Crooked Joe Biden is so bad. He's the worst president in the history of our country. I don't think he's going to make it to the gate, but, you know, you never know.
It started with protests against you, then it moved to impeachment twice.
Right.
And now indictment. Are you worried that they're going to try and kill you? Why wouldn't they try and kill you, honestly?
They're savage animals. They are people that are sick.
So do you think it's possible that there's open conflict?
I can say this, there's a level of passion that I've never seen, there's a level of hatred that I've never seen, and that's probably a bad combination.
Oh my
We're
gosh.
doing this interview, but we'll get bigger ratings using this crazy forum that you're using than probably the debate.
Dude, there's so much to talk about here already. Let's just go into the interview. We have to see the interview now.
Get my
It's debate night, but we're not in Milwaukee.
Yo, dude, Trump is raw already. Okay, I know you guys might be memeing the fact that I'm like saying that, but Trump's aware that he's about to be arrested, and he's aware that this is putting everything out on the table.
Why are you at the Fox News debate tonight in Milwaukee?
Well, you know, a lot of people have been asking me that, and many people said you shouldn't do
46 minutes and 238 million views in 20 hours. This is madness, guys. Oh my God.
them, but you see the polls
All right.
have come out, and I'm leading by 50 and 60 points. And, you know, some of them are at 1 and 0 and 2. And I'm saying, do I sit there for an hour or 2
The way he says two is pretty funny. Two.
hours, whatever it's going to be, and get harassed by people that shouldn't even be running for president? Should I be doing that? It's reminded me very much of 2016. You know, in 2016, I went through the same stuff
Constant demonization.
and had to fight them all the way. And then they became very friendly after I won, or just about when I was winning. But I just felt it would be more appropriate not to do the debate. I don't think it's right to do it. If you're leading by 50, 60, I have one poll, I'm leading by 70 points, and I'm saying, why am I doing it? And I'm going to have 8 people, 10 people, whoever made the debate, I don't know how many it is, but I'm going to have all these people screaming at me, shouting questions at me, all of which I love answering, I love doing, but it doesn't make sense to do them. So
It doesn't help him in any way to have these random people that have no chance of ever beating Trump. The most that they could do is be selected for vice president. And people went after Trump for being narcissistic when he said that. But it's just completely true. The difference between, you know, arrogance and the truth is your competence. And Trump is he's leading by 50 points. He's leading by 45 points. So there's just no competition between him and these people. And the reason why I think Trump is more popular now as a result of the radical left than he was in 2016. I think that that's pretty much measurable. The left has become so corrupt and dishonest that people see Trump as the only way out. None of the other people on the debate stage last night were a way out. Not really. They were all halfway there, and in the best case scenario, halfway there. Most of them weren't even 10% of the way there. Trump is the person that people believe can... Trump is the way people believe they can resist the tyranny of these woke, insane people.
we're doing this interview, but we'll get bigger ratings using this crazy forum that you're using than probably the debate or competition.
When you say there are people on...
That's right. Gosh, it's so good to feel... It's so good to know that you're on the right side of history, resisting the forces of darkness. The Democrat Party, and I'm calling them the Democrat Party, but it's really the extreme leftists who hate America, the communists, and they're communists because they're Marxists. These people, which pretend as though they're the good guys, they parade under a fake, counterfeit banner of inclusivity and diversity, but really they have no diversity of thought. They have no diversity of opinion. It is an ironclad goose step of ideology that they demand from their constituents. And they've made themselves tyrants of the culture in many ways as they control big tech and entertainment, and they try to force feed this feminist propaganda to everyone. Of course, people are aware of it and they're resisting, which is amazing, but they're still trying to do it, and they've created the counterculture of rationality. It's funny, I was telling my family this the other day. It's as if to be the counterculture now, you don't get piercings or dye your hair or get tattoos. What you do is you believe in God and you believe in objective morality, and you go to the gym and you seek to better yourself, and you rely on mechanisms like rationality, objectivity, and logic to reveal the truth. That wasn't the case 15 years ago. That the left has progressed in its degeneracy and its incoherent claims about reality to the point where that's where we are.
A guy like Chris Christie, the guy left with a 8%, think of it, 8% approval rating in New Jersey. Now he's running for president, and he runs solely on the basis, oh, let's get Trump. He's like a savage maniac. He's like a lunatic.
Right, he's crazed, just like the left.
And that's all he talks about. His poll numbers are very, very low. He's about 2%.
What's he like? You know him well.
No, I've been friendly with him over the years, but I couldn't give him a job because I just never trusted him very much. I was.
He said it in such a nonchalant way.
Just never one of his people.
Dude, you know that's exactly what Trump thinks too, because he was just so honest.
People that really trusted him. I never gave him the job, and that's one of the reasons he feels so hurt and so betrayed. And I understand that. I really do. I understand it, but I never gave him. He wanted to be different things. He was looking at different elements of the administration, and I decided I didn't want to do it. And now I'm glad I did, because you see, but we had some great.
You see what type of conniving snake he is. Excuse me, not conniving snake, conniving boa constrictor, if you know what I mean, except an incompetent one.
Great people. I had great people. We'll have even better.
We could finish the wall just by putting Chris Christie at the border.
People, what did he say? He killed himself, probably?
He said he killed himself and that they were going to do this investigation. They never did the investigation. It's never been public.
Well,
and they hid it. And why are they doing that? And clearly Barr knew. But why would Bill Barr be covering up the death of Jeffrey Epstein?
Bill Barr didn't do an investigation on the election fraud either, okay? He said he did, and he pretended he did, but he didn't. McSwain.
Gosh, this is so crazy.
Said Barr just named the U.S. attorney in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. Said Barr just wouldn't let him do it. It was crazy. Barr became so petrified, so frightened of being impeached. We're going to impeach him. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah.
It's not a big moment in history. But they said, we're going to impeach. They play a much rougher game, the left, the lunatics.
To them, anything, and I do mean anything, is justified in allegiance to the leftist doctrine, the leftist cult of counterfeit virtue. It sounds like Barr is tied in with some of the worst people on the planet and is totally controlled. And the people that control those people are probably, you know who those people are. It's dangerous that the radical left is willing to sacrifice anything at the altar of their ideology. That's what could make them very dangerous.
He did with Epstein, but possibly he didn't.
Do you think it's possible that Epstein was killed?
Oh, sure, it's possible. I mean, I don't really believe. I think he probably committed suicide. He had a life with, beautiful homes and beautiful everything, and he all of a sudden he's incarcerated and not doing very well. I would say that he did, but there are those people. There are many people. I think you're one of them, right? But a lot of people think that he was killed. He knew a lot on a lot of people.
He was killed.
You think so?
I think the closer you look, I'm not a conspiracy person at all. I believe everything I hear. But yeah, the closer you look into it, I mean, the Attorney General of the United States, your Attorney General, clearly lied about the Epstein death.
Yeah,
and
he was.
Why?
He was certainly. It wasn't well done. They had no cameras. They had no anything. Everybody was sleeping, and a case could be made. Look, I'm not going to get involved in it, but I can tell you a case could be made either way. But it certainly wasn't the most well-run place.
So the reason I'm asking you is I'm looking at the trajectory since 2015 when you got into.
Dude, something about Trump just infuriates the radical leftists. I'm trying to understand what it is. I think it's the embodied honesty and dismissal of their lunacy that bothers them. It's a reminder that they're wrong in some form or fashion, obviously, but what exactly triggers them. I think it's his casual ability to dismiss insanity.
I have never seen spirit like it is right now. And the reason is because crooked Joe Biden is so bad. He's the worst president in the history of our country. I don't think he's going to make it to the gate, but you never know. But he's a corrupt person, so corrupt that I took the name off Hillary. I don't do two people at one time. I took the crooked Hillary and I retired the name. It was a good day for her. I bet she was very happy. And I used it for Joe because it's crooked Joe. But Joe is really...
But you don't think he's going to make it to November of 24?
Well, I think he's worse mentally than he is physically. And physically, he's not exactly a triathlete or any kind of an athlete. You look at him, he can't walk to the helicopter. He walks.
He couldn't even make it to the pickleball court. He'd get confused. Is this where they sell ice cream? Dude, how can I say that about a president and it be accurate? A sitting president, dude, that's how crazy the left is. They just want a puppet. The people that are controlling the scene are absolutely nefarious, dangerous, and evil people.
He can't lift his feet out of the grass. It's only 2 inches at the White House, right? That's not a lot. But you watch him, and it looks like he's walking on toothpicks. And then you see him on the beach where he can't lift a chair. Those chairs are meant to be light, right? They're like 2 ounces.
Yeah.
You lift him up. He can't lift the chair. He can't walk to the chair. And I don't know what they're doing with the beach. This beach is seeming to play a big role, but they love pictures of him on the beach. I think he looks terrible on the beach. He looks terrible on the beach.
Skinny legs.
Well, he can't walk through the sand. Sand is not that easy to walk through, but when he walks through...
Dude, Trump is so funny. He's so base.
He can't
walk through the sand, base.
Through the sand. And there's somebody in there that thinks he looks fabulous at the beach. I think he looks horrible at
the people that are saying he looks fabulous at the beach are the same reality-denying people that are triggered by objective reality. They're the people that are reminded that they're wrong at every single juncture of life that they experience, and it infuriates them. That's the same. It's the same group of people. I can tell you already. The people that deny morality, the same people that deny objective coherence, that deny truth, that say men and women are the same. Are the same people that say Joe Biden looks good. They are essentially beholden to a cult of reality denial as a result of adhering to the left.
The beach. Plus, the beach doesn't represent what a president's supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be working. You're supposed to be getting us out of that horrible, horrible war that we're very much involved in with Russia and Ukraine. You could do that. You could do that very easily. I believe you could do that I don't believe he could do it because he's just incompetent. But that's a war that should end immediately, not because of one side or the other, because hundreds of thousands of people are being killed. Can you imagine you're in an apartment house and rockets are going into that building and blowing it up and knocking it down? And why should anybody, human beings, these are human, whether they're Russian or Ukrainian or whatever they are, it's got to be stopped. And it can be stopped very easily. It would have never started if I were president.
People that are running the world, these radical leftists, have no regard for human life. They, like I said, they're willing to sacrifice anything for their cult, anything for their counterfeit virtue and victimhood status. It doesn't matter what it is. And human life is unimportant. As a matter of fact, they think the earth should be depopulated. It's what a truly horrific thing to say that is, but it's true. The people that are pushing this, they don't care. They're just sending more money. They're just sending more money to further the war machine. For what? A patch of dirt that we don't care about? That's not a part of NATO? Why do we care? They're just trying to distract people with another thing of, oh, look, flashy new thing in the media. Forget about COVID. Look at this over here. It's so pathetic. Some people are owned. Their minds are bought and controlled. Their minds are literally owned.
Failing, he obviously is failing. I think it's clear to everybody. But that would make Kamala Harris the candidate?
Well, not really. I mean, I guess they'd have maybe a free-for-all. A lot of people say she has to remain for certain reasons the candidate. She has to. I don't think that's true, actually. I don't think that other people would stand for it. She has some bad moments. Her moments are almost as bad as his. I think his are worse, actually.
Yeah.
But
she seems pretty senile, too.
She speaks in rhyme. It's weird. It's weird. But she has bad moments. And
in rhyme? What do you?
Well, the way she talks, the bus will go here and then the bus will go there because that's what buses do. And it's weird. The whole thing is weird. This is not a president of the United States future. And
that's a savage thing to say.
Newsom, right? I mean,
could be. I mean, I always got along well with him, believe it or not. But could be him, could be somebody else. He's got a big load on his shoulders because you look at California, what's happened. But I don't know if the American people really, the people that vote for him, I don't even know if they care. You look at so many of the things that are...
True. It's so true. It's weird. It's like these people don't understand that they see the homeless, they see the drug addiction, they see the taxation, and it's like, oh, we're just going to tax more. Oh, we're just going to drive more people out. La, 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 la. It's bizarre. But I think the reason why they're disconnected, they're willing to act so, disconnected from reality is because they've decided to not care about reality a long time ago when they decided to adhere to the radical left. They sacrificed integrity of ideas. They sacrificed truth when they said, we're going to give up our individual identity for a group identity under Marxism. They gave up the ability to make sense of things. And that's why, again, I believe in the stratification of civilization, where there's going to be the people that know how to make sense of the world and those that are just depraved in every aspect of being.
Today, if you have a bad record, it doesn't really mean anything. He
Right.
looks good, he's a nice-looking guy, speaks well.
The left isn't concerned with coherence or making sense of things anymore. That's how far they've fallen.
But
Maybe that's what they were all along, and they were just too cowardly to show it. The environment wouldn't allow them to show exactly how little Marxism cares about truth, how little resentment, how little the spirit of Cain has a regard for any type of coherence at all. It is only about conformity. It's only about demonization. It's a ravenous monster that drives the left.
Biden, every time you watch him talking, it's like he's walking on eggs. You're waiting for him to collapse. And he almost always does.
It's kind of like you're living in the Truman world, or like you're living in some sort of strange dystopia where people are required to lie, but you don't know why everyone's required to lie. Everything Trump is saying is true, but we're required to think that he's a bad person. We're required to demonize him. It's palpable. If you don't demonize him, then you're a bad person too. Because you have to be a victim. In order to be a good person. Everything he's saying is true. Everything Trump is saying is true. Do people not care about truth? Do people even believe in truth? Do the Democrats, does the left even believe in factual reality? Or do they just wield the words factual reality like they wielded the word science when they told people not to go outside, or that they could shut down businesses and lock people in their houses to combat a respiratory virus? That, and that it had no effect. We know the science, the actual science, which again is arbitrated by reason and logic, so it has nothing to do with their ideology. We know that they were wrong. They don't even care about science. They care about nothing besides the dogmatic adherence to their craven, resentful, hate-filled ideology. That's all they have. They're hollow people. They're shattered people. You see this whenever you ask somebody, when you look at them and you confront their incoherence. And you say, have you learned from what happened in 2020 to 2022? Have you learned from complying? What have you learned? And they just look at you. There's nothing behind their eyes. They're empty. They're possessed by something.
And the bigger, the tougher the leader. It's like sort of, I guess maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. But I got to know President Xi of China and Putin and Kim Jong-un, North Korea. Did a great job with North Korea, kept us out of a nuclear war. We would have 40,000 dead soldiers right now. They'd drop a nuke right on top of the military base. But we have 40,000 soldiers over there. And
Wow.
I did great.
Wow, he's never said that before. Wow.
I got along with him great. That's a positive. The press said, he said nice things about Kim Jong-un. I also said horrible things at the beginning. Horrible
But they didn't print that. No, they're not interested in that.
enough that he wanted to talk. And we talked and we met in Singapore. We met actually
I
twice.
think the reason why this interview is going to get 250 million views in under 24 hours, God, that's so insane. The reason why that's happening is because it's evident to anyone who watches this that Trump is honest, that Trump is based, that everything he's saying is true, and the radical left is just completely demented. They're off the rails. They've been off the rails since 2016. They're driven by truly evil, insane people. And Trump, everything he's saying is correct. Everything he's saying makes sense.
What do you think he and Xi and Putin think of Biden?
What an incredible moment in our culture. This is going down in history, guys. As we speak, this man who is standing up for truth is being arrested and persecuted by the radical left insane people. For the first time in American history, a president, they're weaponizing the justice system as a kangaroo court.
So do you think the rest of the world looks on at Biden and thinks someone else has got to be running the government?
Well, somebody else has to be. I don't think he's capable of doing anything. Look, when I debated him, I said, how come, and this was in front of probably not a friend of yours, Chris Wallace, he was the moderator.
Not a friend.
I said, why is it he wants to be Mike, but he doesn't have the talent? It's one of those
bitchy little man.
He wanted to be his father, but he didn't have the talent of his father was great. His father,
little fussy man.
His father interviewed me in 60 Minutes. It was actually a 10. Can you believe it?
I totally. His father had talent, at least.
I may have been the only guy that he gave a good 60 Minutes to. He was rough.
Really?
His father was tough. He was great, though. He was great at what he did. But Chris Wallace was so upset. He was guarding this guy who wouldn't do a show, by the way. He wouldn't do. I figured. I didn't want.
It's like an invisible force field that permeates the left. They're required. It's like they're possessed. They're required to defend their ideology at all costs, even if it makes them look stupid, even if it makes them look incoherent, because then they just can gaslight you and say, no, you're a villain, you're an enemy. So I don't have to contend with what you have to say, or the fact that you're pointing out that I'm crazy. That's how their brains work. Demonize them so you don't have to listen to them. Demonize them so we don't have to consider how we look to them because they don't matter. That's how evil they are.
Find Chris Wallace because Biden wouldn't do a show, and it was very obvious. He kept asking him and asking, but he wouldn't do the show. So I figured he's got to like me, but he came from a different planet.
They didn't need to because they were going to cheat because ideas don't matter to the left, only identity politics. So it didn't matter that Biden was the least competent person on the Democratic stage. It was that he was the person that they were told to think was good. That's as far as the analysis went. There was no analysis.
But remember when I asked the question, why is it that the mayor of Moscow's wife is allowed to give you $3.5 million? Don't forget, that was brought up. Now it's brought up all the time, but that was brought up by me long before anyone ever heard of it. I said, the mayor of Moscow's wife giving you $3.5 million. What did you do to deserve $3.5 million? To Biden. And Chris Wallace said, this has nothing to do with the debate. I mean, he
got in the way of the question.
No, it was crazy. And I said, well, wait a minute. He got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife. Now, people forget that, but you go back and take a...
It's crazy. It was totally corrupt. And now people see how corrupt they are. And that's why they're trying to put him away, because it won't work, because people are... They've just galvanized people against them. They've fortified their resistance. But that's the reason why they're trying to end the free election. That's why they're trying to persecute the political enemy. That's why they're trying to imprison the person who's going to run against them, because they know they can't beat him. They know that they're going to lose, and people see them as frauds.
So do you have a preference in, assuming you're the Republican nominee and all goes as you plan it to go, do you have a preference in who you run against?
In many ways, I'd love to run against him because his record's so bad. It's still horrible when you look at inflation and everything else, but others also have very bad records. I mean, California's a bad record, so, should it be Gavin or should it be somebody else? When I look at San Francisco, what's happened to that incredible city? That was one of the greatest cities in the world just a short while ago, and now it's very sad when you look at it. Los Angeles, every city practically, all the Democrat-run cities. Republican-run cities are doing very nicely because they arrest people when you have crimes.
It's true. It's really weird to see radical leftist corporations controlled by the radical left, I should say, firing the security guards who they hired to protect the stores, and the security guards try to prevent shoplifters, and they're always black shoplifters trying to just steal thousands of dollars worth of merchandise, and the security guard tries to stop them, and then the security guard gets fired. It's very strange to see that, and all these crimes of carjackings, these black boss queens twerking on ambulances and collapsing bus stops because they weigh so much. I mean, there's no punishment for any of this. It's just applauded. Oh, you go, girl. Yeah, you're a radical leftist. We don't have to scrutinize you because you're already a part of the protected group. You're a victim.
If the protest didn't work, you got elected anyway. Yeah. Impeachment didn't work twice, obviously. Indictment is not working. Your poll numbers go up. When they raided Mar-a-Lago in August of last year, your numbers went up.
That's right. People just see them as the frauds, and that's what infuriates them. I want you to understand it's not just a failure. It is a compounded failure. They are infuriated, deeply angered by the fact that people would dare see them as the frauds, see them as the bad guys, see them as the despicable tyrants when they act as despicable tyrants, because what they want is to raid Mar-a-Lago, to indict Trump, to impeach Trump, to say he's a bad person, to write he's a bad person in the news, and then for people to say, you know what, you're right. Oh, look, he was raided by the FBI. He must be a bad person. But no, what they do is they support him more, which gives a clear and undeniable signal to the people in power that the people of America see them as frauds and liars, and that infuriates them.
They can indict you 20 times, and you're not gonna lose the Republican primary because of that.
Well, so, it makes it look even more ridiculous. I mean, the 4 indictments, and maybe there'll be more. I don't know. These people are crazy.
But they're counterproductive. So if you chart it out, it's an escalation. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. So what's next after try to put you in prison for the rest of your life? That's not working. So don't they have to kill you now?
I think the people of our country don't get enough credit for how smart they are. And I'm not sure I would have said this 10 years ago, but they get it. They really get it. Wow. When somebody gets indicted, your poll numbers go down. When somebody gets indicted, you announce, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be leaving to spend time with my family and to fight for the rest of my life on this stuff.
Wow.
But you're out of politics. I got indicted 4 times. All trivia, nonsense, bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's horrible when you look and you look at what they're doing. The boxes hoax, I'm covered by the Presidential Records Act. I'm allowed to do exactly that. He's not covered, and he's got 25 times the number of boxes.
Right.
And he's got them stored in Chinatown. He's got them stored in a flimsy garage underneath his Corvette at Penn. And by the way, at Penn, he gets millions of dollars. China pays this guy millions of dollars. See, I think he's the most corrupt president we've ever had. And he also has the distinction of being the most incompetent. And I believe both. I mean, he's both incompetent and corrupt.
So
I actually believe he's compromised because China knows so much about him. They know where the money comes from. They know where it is, who paid it. And they probably paid it. Well, they do pay Penn. And he gets $1 million. I think he takes $999,000 because, keeps it a little bit under $1 million, like by $1. But he, in many ways, is a Manchurian candidate. We have a Manchurian candidate, and he's afraid to tell Russia to get out of Cuba. He's afraid to tell China to get out of Cuba. He's afraid. China now is building, think of this, China is building military installations in Cuba. Now, California's in a big brownout because their grid is a disaster. The grid all over the country is sort of a disaster, but the grid in California. And yet, they want to have in a very short period of time millions and millions of cars going off that grid, essentially. It doesn't work.
So plug your car into a grid that's failing.
You should be able to buy an electric car. Electric cars could be fine if you drive short distances and you want to have, whatever, and you have plug-ins everywhere you go. They could be fine. But you got to have gasoline cars. You got to have everything. Let people buy everything. Now the new thing is your heating systems in the house. They don't want you to have a modern-day heating system. They want you to use it.
If you aren't connecting the dots here, the radical left is trying to exercise tyrannical control over your life to make you thoroughly under their thumb. That's exactly what they're doing. It's the same reason they're trying to take away guns. It's the reason they're demonizing guns. Oh, we want to save children's lives. Meanwhile, they don't care about human lives because they're allowing sky-high crime in Chicago, in San Francisco, these other depraved cities, not to mention the fact that they're murdering millions of babies. So Yeah, they don't care about human life. They just care about taking away your ability to resist them. And also, I should be detailed here and say they're also angry at the fact that you know that you could resist them if push came to shove because you have guns. That makes them upset.
And what
The way their ideology works, I'm just going to tell you because I've seen it and experienced it, is those backwards trash people think they can resist me, the bringer of virtue and light. How dare these worthless people think they can dare to resist progress? That's what they think.
work very well. You know, none of the stuff.
That's how the radical leftist ideology operates. That's what they don't say out loud.
You want to wash your hands, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen this, and you turn on the sink and it's very little. Or you want to wash your beautiful hair, right? And you're standing under a shower. Then the suds never go. The water comes out very slowly. I'm sure you've seen this. It usually takes place in new hotels and new homes.
Yeah, you take a drill and take the
They have
limiter out.
Well, you can, but now they make it so you can't do that so easily. They have a restrictor. It's called a restrictor, and it restricts the water from coming out. So I ended all of that, and you have to see these. They let the water come out. You know what people do? They wash their hands like 5 times longer, or in the washing machine they'll press for their, let's say the dishwasher. They'll press it. Then they'll press it about 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
They'll end up using more water, and it still won't be very good. I met with the head of Whirlpool. They were practically going out of business during my administration, and they said to me, from Ohio, incredible, great state, I love Ohio, and they were really doing badly because people were dumping washing machines all over, mostly from South Korea, but also from China. And he was explaining it's just a terrible situation. I said, let me ask you, how's the quality? He says, we're better, but they are good enough quality. But, you know, of course he's going to say that, but, you know, they are better. He said, but they don't allow us. They're dumping these machines. They're cutting us in half. They're killing us. And on top of it, the government won't let us use water in our machines. I mean, he shows me like a quarter of a bottle of water. That's supposed to be washing clothing. And I freed it all up, and I put tariffs on these countries that were selling and the machines coming into the country. And that company went from all the washing machine companies, they make washing machines, they make dryers, they make all of the different machines that do this kind of work, including dishwashers. And they went from a disaster area to being just thriving.
I want you guys to understand that American technology is doing this. Our capability and power is doing this right now. It's doing this. So there is no way to justify going backwards from a technological point. There is literally no way. It's purely ideological. It is founded and entirely based on corrupt mental models, you know, mentally depraved, broken people have for their vision of humanity. They're nihilistic. They hate humanity. They hate America. There is no reason to limit water. There's literally none. We could solve it very easily. And they just want control, like I said before. They just want control over your life. That's all.
Why should EPA, no one at EPA was elected by anybody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why do they have the power?
They think that they're better than you, like I said before. They believe they can rule over you because they're better than you, because they think they're more enlightened. It's an unassailable castle that they think you can't approach, that you can't question, because it's already been decided. We've already decided that we're better than you. It's deeply perverse.
To decide how much water your washing machine uses. Shouldn't Congress in a democracy get to vote on that?
Yeah, you could say that. They do things that are not very...
So how do you, that's my question. How do you, if you get elected again, go back to Washington, how do you keep the agencies under control? How do you keep FBI and CIA specifically under control?
The way you do it, like I fired Comey, that was a big deal. You know, a lot of people said, and I fired him very early. Somebody said, oh, I wish you would have fired him. There was a real question about firing him anyway. You understand, because, you know, when they have a 10-year term, there is a question. I fired Comey. That was a great thing. If I didn't fire Comey, maybe I wouldn't be talking to you, or I'd be talking to you about real estate or something else other than politics, right? That was a coup, in my opinion. That was a very sick deal. That was the insurance policy. You remember the insurance policy? Oh, she's going to win, darling. She's going to win. But just in case she doesn't, we have an insurance policy. An insurance policy was what they were doing. And we caught them with that. That was a very important tweet or whatever it was, text. It was a big deal. That was a big deal. The insurance policy. She's going to win 100 million to 1. That's not good odds. At least they gave me 1, right? 100 million to 1. But just in case she doesn't win, we have an insurance policy. And everybody said, that's strange. That's strange. But we caught all that because I fired Comey. Because
God, the left is so corrupt and pathetic.
when I fired Comey, it was like throwing a rock into a hornet's nest.
When you were president, are you confident that you knew everything, say, CIA was doing around the
No,
world?
I'm not. It's a very interesting group of people. I had very good relationships, I thought, but I was a little surprised when I got out that, things go on. Look, it's...
What were you surprised by?
I was surprised. I think it's some of the people. I was surprised that there was... I had a group of people. Look, we killed many, using the CIA, I have to say this, very bad actors. We were very good at it. You look at Soleimani, you look at al-Baghdadi, bigger than Osama bin Laden. I mean, Osama bin Laden is, but al-Baghdadi did ISIS, and he was rebuilding ISIS very strongly.
And that was the CIA that did that?
That was really us that did that.
Yeah.
That was really us that did that. And Soleimani was us that did that, not so much CIA. But we did some very good work with the CIA. What I started, when I looked at the 51 intelligence agents saying that was the laptop from hell was Russia disinformation, when I took a look at that, I said, that's a horrible thing. They knew it wasn't. They knew it was not. And by the way, you're talking about cheating on the election? McLaughlin and Fabrizio, great pollsters, they said a thing like that plus other things meant anywhere from 10 to 17% out. He's gone. But if somebody else got in, other than me, they'll go at him just as viciously as they did me. These people are sick. They will go after them. And a lot of people say they won't be able to hold up. I do get credit for holding up quite well, I must tell you. I think it's...
How do you do that? How do you get indicted, every week and stay cheerful?
It's... I think it's a lot easier because
This is so raw. This is so authentic. Trump has never looked like this.
I'm so high in the polls, because it means the people get it. The people see it's a fraud. The people see it. Like this horrible district attorney from just a little while ago, from essentially Atlanta, that's Fulton County. She said, basically, I don't have any right to challenge an election. Well, what about Stacey Abrams? What about Hillary Clinton? What about all of these Democrats that are still challenging my election? The same people that are saying he's challenging an election challenged my election. And they did it with slates. They did it with all sorts of things. They were very bad about it. But basically, they're suing me, and they're saying, you don't have any right to challenge it. If you challenge an election, we're going to indict you and put you in jail. So what they're doing is they've weaponized.
They're trying to persecute him for having an opinion that they don't like. And that is the inevitable manifestation of left-wing hatred. That is the inevitable manifestation of their hatred for you if you dare to disagree with them. It's not their final solution. It's not the final stage. It's not the final manifestation. They want to eradicate you. They want you to be eradicated and enslaved. That's the reason they want to take away your gas stove and get rid of your ability to drive. They want to be able to turn off your car. They want to control your movement. They want to tell you what to eat. They want to tell you if you're a good or bad person based on what you believe. They want that power. They want to be able to get you to report on your family. And if you think that I'm lying or making this up or exaggerating, understand that they were able to control people's minds and emotions over COVID. They were able to control what people thought and what they felt. And so if they can tell you, how to feel, then they can tell you who's a bad person. And this is the extent of their insanity.
And don't kid yourself, the DOJ and Biden and the whole group, they're watching all of this stuff. They love the local stuff. The DA in Manhattan. Not only that, they put one of the DOJ top people into the Manhattan DA's office to run things. They don't even have a case against me. It's not even a case. Everyone says, even the Democrats say, you can't bring these cases. You have no case. The attorney...
What I think this video shows with a 250 million views in under 24 hours, what I think this shows is that people are silently aware and awake to the evil and depravity of the left-wing hatred for humanity. Their endless lies, their endless demonizations, their endless cowardly acts, their inability to contend with logic or reason. People are aware of it. They're silent, but they're aware of it. They can see, and they know something's wrong. They know they're being lied to. They know the news is fake. They know something's off. Understand that it's Marxism. They're possessed by Marxism. They hate reality. They are possessed by resentment. They hate you for daring to disagree with them. If you disagree with them, you're a bad person, and your resistance infuriates them.
But they challenged this stuff. Yeah. Hillary called me up and conceded. Now, the word is that Obama said you have to do that. But she called up and totally conceded. But now, every time you see her on television, she's saying, she's challenging the election.
Do you think...
So that would mean that she should be indicted. But that would mean also that Stacey Abrams in Georgia should be indicted, because she still thinks she won the election for governor. She still thinks that. She's never recanted. And
do you think Stacey Abrams will be indicted for that?
No, of course not. She won't be. The Democrats don't get indicted for things like that. They don't get impeached. No, it's an
inflection point in American history.
So interesting. The
architecture of the hatred and ideology is the same all the way up. It permeates every level of human consciousness, all the way in every office, in every administration. They're all possessed by the same hatred of reality. They know they're at war with something. What they're at war with is objective truth. What they're at war with is truth. They live in denial of truth. This is the reason they act this way. It's the reason why everything they do is perverted and evil.
So last question, if you're elected president again, what's your number one priority? When you ran last time, you said, I will build a wall. This time, your bottom line top promise to the country.
So you can do numerous things at the same time.
Of course.
But let's say number one is a border, and taking hundreds of thousands of criminals that have been allowed into our country and getting them out and bringing them back to their country, Guatemala. By the way, not only the 4 countries that we think of as neighbors, all over the world. Last month, we had 149 countries represented. Think of it. We had 149 countries represented, Tucker, from places that many people never even heard of, coming into our country. And they're coming in from mental institutions, and they're coming in from prisons. They're emptying out their prisons all over South America. They're emptying out their mental institutions. Wow. Terrorists are pouring into our country. We have no idea. I had the strongest border in the history of our country, and I built almost 500 miles of wall. They like to say, oh, was it less? No, I built 500 miles. In fact, if you check with the authorities on the border, we built almost 500 miles of wall, and I had another 200 that I was going to build. It's like water, it seeks. And we're going to build another 200. We built it. It was all set to go. All they had to do was install it. It would have taken 3 weeks. And that's when I found out. I said, I think these people actually want open borders. The first thing I would do would be I would seal up the border good and tight, except for people that want to come in legally.
Do you think we're moving towards civil war?
There's tremendous passion and there's tremendous love. January 6th was a very interesting day because they don't report it properly. I believe it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken before. And some of the crowds I've spoken before.
Wow.
And like July 4th on the Mall. I think they had 1 million people there. But I think that the biggest crowd I've ever spoken before was on January 6th, and people that were in that crowd, a very, very small group of people, and we said patriotically and peacefully and patriotically, right? Nobody ever says that. Go peacefully and patriotically. But people that were in that crowd that day, very small group of people, went down there, and then there are a lot of scenarios that we can talk about. But people in that crowd said it was the most beautiful day they've ever experienced. There was love in that crowd. There was love and unity.
Right.
I have never seen such spirit and such passion and such love. And I've also never seen simultaneously and from the same people such hatred of what they've done to our country.
So do you think it's possible that there's open conflict? We seem to be moving towards something.
I don't know, because I don't know what it, I can say this. There's a level of passion that I've never seen. There's a level of hatred that I've never seen, and that's probably a bad combination.
Donald Trump, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you.
That is a bad combination, by the way.
Bad combination. Thank you.
My gosh, bro. Let's check the views. 241. We've gained 4 million views since I began recording this video. And I say we because we're on the same side, obviously, here. Oh my God, man. Like and subscribe, guys. This is just one thing I decided to cover. I came into it not really knowing what to expect because I hadn't even seen many clips of it, but our country is at an inflection point. Things are changing. Evil's being confronted, and evil is making itself manifest clearly. It's everywhere you look. These people are depraved. They're totally insane. It's like they're possessed by something that causes them to hate humanity, and it's very, very strange to see. I think that if Trump is imprisoned, I think if they try to keep Trump in jail, then the government needs to be overthrown. Okay. Like and subscribe, guys. Guys, I had to turn the camera back on because Trump just tweeted on Twitter less than an hour ago. And guys, it has 21 million views. As of right now, 21 million impressions, 402,000 likes. It's changing in real time. Less than an hour ago. Guys, 402,000 likes, 169,000 retweets, and it's this. Not that I need to show you, guys will probably know what it looks like. He retweeted his mugshot saying, "Never surrender election interference, DonaldTrump.com." Dude, this guy's just a complete savage. This is absolutely crazy. Obviously, Trump tweeting deserves an update, and so I had to turn the camera back on just to update you guys. Guys, we're talking about Tucker Carlson interview, 250 million impressions, 250 million views in less than 24 hours. Now Donald Trump tweets and has 22 now million. Oh my gosh, it's up to 404,000. We're gaining 405,000. It's literally changing in real time. Look at this. Look at this. Can you see? It's changing in real time. Less than an hour ago. Oh my gosh, man, this is nuts. This is so crazy. This is so crazy. This is okay. I'm gonna just say that this is a complete middle finger to anyone that thinks that this is some sort of humiliation. It is a perfect and synchronistic reversal of their attempted, perverted demonization and gleeful despair that they live their lives with. It is an inversion of that. And Trump was brilliant to tweet this. And it's brilliant that we are weaponizing it back at them to just show how corrupt these pathetic, wannabe, narcissistic tyrants are to think that they can persecute the leader of their opposition. It's just, I can't believe America came to this. But I had to turn the camera back on to cover this because, man, this is so epic. Like and subscribe, guys. This is so cool.